Okay, really quick. We do have a super chat from DCK Punk. Thank you for the $5. The DNC can still declare Bernie not enough of a Democrat to get the nomination. I don't believe that. Again, this is
they can. You don't believe they will.
No, I don't believe they will have the when they would if the point that they would try to do that. Again, it's bigger army diplomacy. It won't matter if Bernie Sanders already controls much of the election, because they've already said Bloomberg was Republican yesterday.
We disagree here. I think they will pull out every single stop.
I'm not. There's a big distinction between will they try and attempt it and will it succeed.
Okay.
My point: if the only time that kind of an effort will succeed is if Sanders already didn't have enough power. If Sanders has enough power, it's not going to work. They can try and pull it all they want, and I really don't care. There's going to be a level, and Sanders is above this certain level of support. Certain things, institutional, whether it be the donors, they just won't work. That's why we have to get Sanders to that point.
After they've stacked committee seats with a bunch of Never Bernie folks?
I'll put it this way. If what you're saying had...
It's going to be a minutia thing. It's going to be a Democratic Party minutia thing.
No, I agree with that. But another way of saying this is like, if that is true to like the full degree and people believed in it fully, first of all, there'd be no hope. Second of all, no empire would ever fall because they would just tell the invading, I am one of the sons of some emperor, of some sultan, and he's the other son, and he has a bigger arm, and he's coming to take over the castle. I would just write him a sternly written letter saying, by the rules that have been set by my father and your father, you cannot be sultan. And he would read it and go, oh, damn it, he got me. I can't be leader now. I'll just disband my army because politics is war. It's just war with words.
Right. Okay, but here's my point. Bernie has a very strong base.
Yes.
A very committed and strong base.
Yes.
But that committed and strong base is not the full, maybe 40, 50% of people that might potentially vote for him. They'll support him. They'll vote for him. What I'm saying is the committed Bernie supporter is maybe only 20% of Democratic voters.
I wouldn't say that. I would say it's more than that.
Okay, maybe it's more than that. And that's a we don't really know. All we have are really stupid polls that have a lot of major problems with them. And here we are not sure exactly. I don't have a crystal ball, but what I'm saying is if he were going to be winning the nomination and they pull that lever of, well, you're not a real Democrat because we can't have that.
Yeah.
There are some portion of those people that would have voted for him that would have been like, well, they're a bunch of smart people in the Democratic, but they must know something we don't know. And I guess that we're going to have to just, trust that they made the right decision. I think there are a lot of people like that. I really think there are a lot of people like that.
But again, there's two outcomes in this. There's outcome one, Sanders wins. And there's outcome two, Sanders doesn't win. Right? Those are the two effective outcomes.
Right.
So we're looking for how does Sanders win? So I'm always focused on how does Sanders win? What path can he take to win? What are the things? Because again, in reality, this is the strongest, most powerful, most corrupt empire the world has ever seen. At another level, Trump was able to do it in the Republican Party. Granted, the Republican Party has a lot more democratic process, ironically, than the Democratic Party does. But he was still able to push through. And the other part of it is I feel people give the competence of the Democratic Party way too much credit. These are a lot of bumbling idiots. Not to say all of them are. There are a lot of very smart people that know how to try and switch things up. Mm-hmm. But again, we look at it from a bigger army diplomacy point of view and a rules to rulers point of view. Our goal needs to be to create the biggest base that we can get. And there is going to be momentum. If Sanders wins Iowa, then New Hampshire, then Nevada, everyone that's on that fence, by the time that, and again, we're going to see, this is going to play out a certain way. We're just predicting how we think the world's going to work. But I think right now, it's not really useful to say, but what trap are they going to spring? In a sense, we have to put our faith in the Sanders campaign. But
we know they've got this in their back pocket.
We know that they do, but it's not us or the people watching that will have the power to be able to overcome that or lead that.
That's not what I'm talking. That's not what I'm asking. My question is, if they try to pull that lever,
when
they do that, how does Bernie come away and say, hey, that ain't gonna fly?
Well, we'll have to ask Bernie.
But you're asserting that it won't work. You're
I'm not,
asserting that
no. I'm not asserting that it won't work. I said that there's two outcomes: that he either wins or he doesn't. And
Well, but we have to unpack
Yeah,
that too,
yeah.
because he wins more votes, he actually has more support, or he in the vote and caucus and delegates votes looks like he has more support, because that I
that
believe will also be undermined.
He gets the nomination. Would be, I guess, what I'm talking about.
Okay, so you're saying if he gets the nomination at that point, it won't work if they try to pull the lever.
Well, obviously at that point it won't. But what I'm saying is that if all we do is worry about what the Democratic Party will or might do, it takes away effort from building power, and it adds doubt in people's mind. And
Okay.
the most important thing we can do before they pull that lever is build up the biggest war chest, build up the most supporters, and then, in a sense, trust that the Sanders campaign can put it into action. That's what we have. I mean, this is, again, what we're fighting is what we're fighting. And we have
I don't begrudge.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
I don't begrudge that. That's not a bad strategy. We need to have as big of a mobility as possible. We need to have as many people on board as possible. My concern is the DNC is going to pull a lot of shenanigans. And we need to be aware of what those shenanigans are
Agreed.
and what the outcomes
Yes.
might be
Yes.
and what our response as citizens should be.
Yes. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's, I would say, a different conversation. Like, for me, it's
I thought
like,
that's the discussion we were having.
the tone of it was different in my mind. For me, it's we don't want to put people in a position where they think that this is an unwinnable fight, because then we lose.
Oh, I'm not
Then-
saying
then-
it's unwinnable.
then-
I'm saying
yeah.
they're going to
Yeah.
all of the knives are
Yeah.
out.
Oh, no, there's no question. They're going to pull out the set. They're going to get their neighbor's set. They're going to get their neighbor's set.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but in a lot of ways, that type of institutional attack is kind of outside the control of media. That's outside the direct control. Like, we as people can't kind of spontaneously organize to that to undo that. At that point, that's the Sanders campaign has to direct how they deal with it. So all we can do from a media perspective is do what we can.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, that's why I don't focus on it as much. Like, it's good that we bring it up. It's good that we make people aware of it. That's important. But it should be just like a, hey, by the way, this is a thing that'll happen. Keep an eye out for it. Stay tuned. Let your people know that this is something that'll happen. But keep doing the important thing right now, which is build coalition, get out the vote, make phone calls, etc.
The last thing I want is for anyone to be resting on their laurels, right?
Or giving up.
What are laurels and who's resting on them? Doesn't matter. My point is, don't be comfortable.
Yes.
This is not
Yeah.
in the bag. We've got to fight.
Yes.
We've got to be
Yes.
aware
Yes.
of what they're going to
Yes.
do.
Yes.
We've got to be aware of what the pitfalls will be and
Yes.
think about what the plan is.
But that's all I'm saying is don't put all your effort on it.
Right. Well, I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's
Yeah.
hopeless. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's all stay home and don't vote. That's not at all what I'm saying.
We need
Anyway,
to win. We
so
need to win by winning.
That potential chaos that could ensue during the DNC, during the
I
convention.
think we just made an extra story without trying.
Yeah, that was fun.